Hello, yes, snacks. Welcome back. My name is Jack. It's a pleasure to see you as always. It's time to read some more Reddit stories, so let's begin. This story began a few days ago by Playful Command 1524. Now, do note, this story does have some rather broken English, so I add a bit more descriptive flair myself just to make things a bit more coherent to listen to. I was accused by my fiancé's friend to be lying about my life. I proved it wrong, and everything went wrong. Hi, Reddit. I don't know where to post this. If this isn't the right place, I'll report it somewhere else and take this down. A few months ago, my fiancé's friend accused me of lying about parts of my past and said I was abusing her mentally and soon physically. My fiancé, shocked hearing this, confronted me about this, and I provided proof of all of this, screenshots and photos, as well as text conversations with these people without getting defensive or angry. Now, I was shocked and mad, yes, but not at my fiancé. My fiancé goes back to tell her friends to stop all this, as she believes me and chooses to stay with me. I mean, even my fiancé's family believes me about all of this, and even begged to the friend to stop and drop these accusations. But this person was so sure about this, so sure that she called my job multiple times and asked for if anything happened with certain workers, essentially trying to get evidence that other people had been abused. Work got involved, and there was an investigation which put me on not getting any commission for 4 months, which screwed up my pay and finances badly. Now note, my job told her that we can't give info about employees, but she, the friend, decided that that meant I was lying. Thing is, I will admit I was a very violent kid. I was angry at the world in a not good home situation. I got help and worked on this stuff for years, and I'm better. All of this was 14 plus years ago when this happened, and I'm not the same person. But now, this person is spreading all this debunked info to my fiancé's friend group, and instead, going to her to ask more questions, they all pushed her to the side like it was nothing. She's been depressed for a while and is scared all of her friends are not going to hang out or talk with her anymore. They have been her rock for years. I don't know what to do. I was thinking of taking a step back and taking a break, but that would be sucky on my end. I don't know what else to do, and I feel like parts of this is my fault, as I didn't tell my fiancé some parts of my past, as I am working through it in therapy. She knew that I was a violent kid, and I grew up not in the best place in the world. She knows all the big stuff, and she knows that I would have told her, and she understood that. I feel like this person is jealous of our relationship because she waited until after I proposed. See, we've been together for 3+ years, both currently are over the age of 25, and we're living together. Now, to throw this all at her, on top of that, she waited until she was alone and away from me. See, my fiancé went on a trip with this friend's family and slept at her family's place the night before, as they were leaving very early in the morning. Which is where this friend told my fiancé that she was jealous of our relationship. But again, I really don't know. I don't know what to say or do at this point, and I feel like I'm spiraling with all of this. It's making my fiancé and me feel crazy. I don't know what else to do about this, and I need other perspectives, or if there is even anything I can do about this. Please help. So it sounds like this friend is having some sudden manic episode. Despite all this evidence that all she's saying is a lie, she's not just like responding as someone who's been caught out, but genuinely just doesn't believe it. Which, if anything though, just makes this situation scarier because you don't know what she's willing to do to prove she's right. Regardless, it gets comments to say, this is defamation of character. Calling your job messing with your livelihood, that's actionable. Have things been resolved with your compensation? I would contact a lawyer and have them file a cease and desist action against this person who is slandering you. Even if things are okay with your job and your relationship, you may be eligible for financial compensation due to emotional pain and suffering. You just can't let someone get away with doing this to you. To which OP informs us that, yeah, after more talk and investigation, and thankfully, with the help of my bosses, they found nothing, and I got all my commission back in my next check, and said if the person calls again, they will call the cops for harassment, and sent a cease and desist, as she also apparently emailed the company multiple times, calling me out by name. My company also gave me a lawyer to talk to. How gross, a company treating its employees like family, that they care about their well-being. Ugh. Now, in all seriousness, OP does come back with an edit to give further details on everyone in the story, as well as explaining in more detail the ridiculous accusations that started all of this. My fiancé's family, they know about this because my fiancé told them what is happening. She was at their home crying and in shock about the accusations, so my fiancé's mum asked and she told her. It was her mum's idea to actually call me and ask me about it, as my fiancé was worried about me being defensive and yelling at her due to past relationship stuff. About this friend was never interested with my fiancé's past relationships. My fiancé was in a couple of bad relationships and even abused and harassed her in front of the friend. And yet this friend did nothing during that time. She only said something after they'd break up with them. My fiancé and this friend had been friends for 10 plus years, and before all of this were best friends, like weekly FaceTime, and she was the friend who was the first to know about me. Now, why I didn't go to the cops sooner, I was dealing with family stuff, which include my dad attacking me and getting a restraining order on him since he knew where I lived, and it took a lot out of me. See, my fiancé and this friend have always been close until these last few months. She has stood her ground and told this friend a few times to stop with all of this, and this friend has told her that I need psychological help. Which, joke's on you, I'm in therapy still 14 plus years later and I'm getting better. And that my fiancé is blind for not seeing the truth. And when my fiancé confronted her about what she did at my job, she said that she wasn't sorry. But what was the stuff I was accused of? I was accused for lying about my friend's sexuality. The friend thought I made it up, even though this happened almost 6 years ago. They also think I made up my ex, who I was with for 2 years before meeting my fiancé. That ex would do so much to knock me down physically and mentally. I still have scars that she gave me on my back and arms. But this friend thought that she wasn't real because no police reports were made and I didn't have photos posted online. I don't know, it was a weird one. Regarding my job, yes, my job is protecting me, but my reputation is ruined. I'm only staying at this job until I find something better paying. Customers and some of my coworkers can't look at me because they think I'm an abuser and an awful person. My job is a very small field, so word travels quickly. They can protect me, but only to an extent. I hope this adds more insight on everything. Thank you for the advice I see you guys giving. When more has happened, I'll release an update. And thankfully, or unfortunately, it was only a day later that OP gave us an update. Hello again. The other day I asked for advice on what I should do for this friend accusing me, and here's an update. Last night, after our weekly dinner date, I asked my fiancé if we can talk about this entire situation with her now ex-friend. She said yes, and I told her, I know we are supposed to go look at venues for our wedding, however, we need to put that to a halt until all of this with this person is done. She agreed, and I told her that I'm not comfortable with this friend and that she needs to either minimize contact or no contact altogether because it's clear she was trying to ruin our relationship. I also told her about my worries and how no matter what I do, this person will always see me as violent. She completely understood and actually wanted to talk to me tonight about this too. See, she had a convo with her close friends group, finally, and she learned that this friend was spreading lies about the entire thing. This friend was telling this group that she brought up concerns about the relationship for years, but my fiancé was shutting it down and cussing her out, and this last conversation was the last straw on her helping. So, when my fiancé brought up the abuse accusations, them calling my job which screwed up my pay, and a bunch of other stuff with screenshots of proof, specifically on what this friend had said, my fiancé's friends were shocked to say the least. They never thought I hurt my fiancé in any way, and they thought it was an insane stretch, as one of them said, if you were truly abused, they should have said something to us and we would have helped you out, but that's clearly not the case. That they treat you so well and you guys never had any problems, so her saying all that is insane behavior. Now, a lot of other lies were told from this friend to the friend group. They apologized so much, they had a group cry, and even I got messages from some of those people saying they are sorry about the entire situation, and they couldn't imagine the pain I was in. They are all going to confront this friend today and truly get to the bottom on why they did this in the first place. I also talked to the cops today, and I have a case where I can press charges for harassment, and originally I was going to talk to my company lawyer, but my boss, I love him to bits and pieces, gave me his personal lawyer, so I have set up a meeting with him on Monday. Thank you all for the advice I got from everyone. I deeply appreciate it. If anything else happens, I'll update you guys. Again, English is quite broken. Maybe it's the grammar, more to speak. On one hand, it definitely can't be AI in this case, but on the other hand, hey, maybe it's a 7-year-old practicing fanfics. But taking it all at face value, questions begin in the comments. I don't understand. What's the motive? Maybe she secretly is in love with your fiancé? OP saying that I don't truly know their motive, but she said to my fiancé multiple times that they are jealous of how healthy our relationship was. There was also a few times while we were together that kinda gave me an ick, which makes me believe she was in love with her, but we shall see when the friend group confronts her. So, right, it seems that at the start of all this friend was spreading these rumors to this friend group that allegedly were just brushing these off to the side, but clearly were actually absorbing these things and not really talking to OP's fiancé until recently, which is where we've gotten suddenly all this evidence being thrown at them. So at this point, we were just waiting for the confrontation to happen with the friend group. And it's another few days later that we finally get this confrontation, and oh boy. Hello again, and holy schmidt, a lot happened since my last update, and honestly, this will be my last update due to a few things. I know a lot of you guys want to hear it, so here it goes. The friend group confronted the now ex-friend. This is all coming from my fiancé. I got the okay to post this from her. So the group confront her, and as they expected, she started saying that I was twisting the truth, and that I was filling their head with lies, and she was the only one protecting them from the devil, that's me. The friend group calls her out on everything. The hacking of my personal account, the excessive and in general calling my job, and apparently talking to my parents? Yeah, apparently this mother flipper was in contact with my dad, aka the man who abused the hell out of me, and saying that I was a lowlife and a piece of schmidt human. After some back and forth and cussing out, she finally admitted that she was in love with my fiancé, like at the point where it was obsessive. She was tracking my fiancé's phone when she was traveling, talking to my fiancé's exes on what she's like, started following my mutual friends, going to the same gym as me, apparently even following me home, and I never noticed any of this. See, with my gym stuff, I go at like 1 to 2 a.m. around my time. This person was convinced that if she got me out of my fiancé's life, my fiancé would come crawling back to her and they would somehow end up being together. Note that this person is still with her boyfriend of 10 years, by the way. She didn't even break up with him yet. The friend group, rightfully so, told her to never talk to any of them again, and they all completely cut off this ex-friend. The friend is still trying to convince everyone that I was the true psycho, but no one was listening, and helping my fiancé to leave because the friend was trying to keep her there. Now, I thought that was the end of it. I got a call into the office at my job, and my bosses told me that the same person called my job saying a bunch of stuff that I can't repeat back as it got me physically sick. They called the cops, and now there's another case on her. Thankfully, my company, even though it has its screwed up moments, does care and is now going extra length to protect me and my team. On-site security, she's on an interact or talk to. My company also provided me another therapist, as they can see the mental turmoil I'm physically showing at this point. With on top of getting a restraining order on her, finally, and sending cease and desist letters with the lawyer. Hopefully she won't hear anything from them anymore, but I can't keep my hopes up. Any other advice for this will be amazing, because I don't know how much more I can take. Even just good hobbies to get my mind off of all of this would be great. A bit of an explosive finish of a third update, I'd say. I do find it kind of ridiculous as to how many things just suddenly were exposed in that final update. But at the same time, it would explain the behavior. I mean, you don't get this obsessive about someone unless you are doing all these sort of actions in the same time. Again, this is a lot of broken English. Some words here might not be the exact translation that we're going for. Like, I'm sure there's a big difference in hacking between literally accessing all your personal data versus you getting a notification that you've been locked out of your email address because someone's attempted too many passwords. Regardless, how do you feel about this situation? Let me know if you think it's a bit ridiculous. It's certainly not the first time we've come across someone being overly obsessive with another person's fiancé. This story by Ballet Party Throw. My daughter's dance teacher invited her to a sleepover at her house. Would I be the a-hole for formally complaining? My daughter is 7. She's been taking ballet lessons since she was 4, but has only been enrolled in this particular dance school for about a year. There are only 6 other girls in her class, all around her age, and she has 2 lessons a week. Anyway, earlier this week my daughter came home with an invitation from her teacher. She's inviting the girls, all 7 of them, to spend the night at her house on the last weekend of April. According to my daughter, the teacher told the girls that it's a slumber party. The pitch apparently included McDonald's, movies, and games. I've spoken to the other moms and they've all confirmed that their daughters got the same invitation. None of us have been notified by the school, so I have to assume the teacher is planning this on her own. She has not spoken to any of us about this directly, only to our daughters. Some of the girls seem to be excited, but my daughter is still anxious about spending the night away from us, so she wouldn't be going even if I was okay with this, which I'm not. I have never spoken to this teacher about anything besides my child, nor do I know anything about her personal life or home. I've been thinking about complaining to the dance school about this because I've never heard of teachers doing this before, and I'm a little freaked out. But at least 2 of the other moms don't seem to have a problem with it, and I can't help but wonder whether I'm overreacting. Is this normal? Honestly, I just need some advice here. Now, it does seem a bit sus that this teacher's like, hey kids, I haven't told anyone officially who's an adult, but all of you should come to my house. But as unsafe that might seem, apparently according to the comments, my daughter's dance teachers would invite students to a sleepover in the dance studio with other teachers. That's how they do it. But which, like, yeah, that is cool, but you can't just invite a 7-year-old to such an event without consulting with parents first. Still though, a few are actually not on OP's side. Slumber parties are perfectly normal. It would be sus if she invited just one girl, but inviting everyone is a good time. There's no secrets when the whole class is involved. Were you never invited to those as a kid? They're pretty amazing, really. Yeah, so a slight jab at OP's social standing as a child. Now, as someone whose entire last decade of work has mostly been around working with kids and understanding all the risks and dangers that we have to consider legally, I'm very shocked this dance studio hasn't bothered to inform any parents. Like, does this teacher even know any of the possible underlying medical issues these kids could be having? What if someone has an episode of some kind that the parent needs to be aware of? Regardless, a lot of the comments not on OP's side. This gets them to make an update a few days later. Thank you all for your input. A lot has happened, but I'll try to keep this short. I won't waste time and try to convince anyone to like me. If you've already decided I'm a true crime-obsessed neurotic helicopter parent Karen with diaper energy and social anxiety issues, I don't think there's much I can say that will change your mind. And yes, I've heard of lock-ins. My son had one with his swim team last year. He's a bit older, it happened at the pool, guardians were informed before the children were, and one of the other parents chaperoned. It's not the same thing as an unofficial sleepover at a teacher's house. All of that said, I never intended to risk this woman's job. I was just worried. So I spoke to my husband, and we decided to take your advice and speak to my daughter's teacher first. He spoke to her while picking up our daughter last week. He said the conversation went fine, but he was bothered by her reaction when he said our daughter wouldn't attend. He told the teacher our kid was anxious, but she replied that the sleepover would be a great opportunity for her to come out of her shell, and that we should try to encourage our daughter to come. During the conversation, my husband also found out the following. She came up with the sleepover idea because she wanted to bond with the girls and figured it would be fun. She didn't ask for another parent to act as a chaperone because her husband had offered to help her. First time she ever mentioned his existence. When asked about what she'd do in case of emergency, she just stated she lived about 10 minutes away from a hospital. She didn't ask for the parents' contact information because she didn't think of it. After he told me all this, I decided to email the dance school. I wrote that the teacher was planning a sleepover about which the parents had not received a lot of information. 2 days later, we all got an email from the teacher stating she was cancelling the sleepover due to a complaint from the dance school. She also apologized for not being more transparent with us. Some of the other mums are planning another sleepover at one of their houses so that the girls won't be upset. Not sure where or when it will happen yet, but I'm trying to keep up to date. Ultimately, even though I still don't know what the sleepover would have been like, I don't regret this. When it comes to my children, I'd rather be paranoid and wrong than regretful and right. If I complained and it turned out to be a completely innocent event, I'd feel embarrassed, even after apologizing, but it might be something I could laugh about someday. If I let my daughter go and something happened to her or any of the other girls, I would never forgive myself. So, okay, I find it weird the husband was bothered by the dance teacher's reaction by saying that, hey, I really recommend she comes if she's feeling anxious and stuff, maybe it'll help her come out of her shell. That's nothing to be bothered by. Sounds like the teacher just really wants them all to, get together and get, really bond. That said, though, still very bad explanations as to why it's a good idea to do this party when your reasoning for understanding medical emergencies is there's a hospital 10 minutes away. That... Imagine if you asked a friend if they have anything to help you get to sleep, maybe some tea, maybe tell you a bedtime story, and all they offer is, yeah, sure, I've got a rag and some chloroform, here you go. Okay, maybe we have other methods than just the most extreme option that's more of a last resort. Nonetheless, you still had some people in the comments saying, congrats, you ruined a perfectly fine event for no reason whatsoever. No wonder your kid's anxious, she gets it from her neurotic mother and father. But what do you think? You think OP went too far by making a complaint? It does sound like she was assuming this dance teacher had some nefarious purpose for this sleepover, but you could also argue she was just clearly very unorganized with it. So let me know what you think down below, and in the meantime, we'll end today's story there. Thank you as always for watching. If you made it this far, love your face, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.